The studio lights were bright, the cameras were rolling, and the atmosphere was calm, at least for the first 5 minutes. Lorraine Kelly had been hosting her popular morning show for decades, and few guests had ever truly rattled her. But that morning, her guest was Eugene Levy, beloved actor, comedian, and star of Schitt's Creek. What started as a lighthearted interview about his new travel documentary soon turned into one of the most unexpected live TV moments of the year. Lorraine began warmly, her Scottish accent carrying its usual charm. "Eugene, you've been traveling all over the world for your latest series. Tell us, what was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself during your journeys?" Eugene smiled politely. "That I really don't like traveling as much as people think I do," he said with a chuckle. The audience laughed, and Lorraine joined in. But as the conversation continued, she pressed a bit too far. "Really? You seem like such a fun, adventurous spirit," she said. "Surely you enjoyed at least something about it." Eugene shifted slightly in his chair. "Of course I did, Lorraine," he replied, his tone tightening. "But, you know, sometimes a person's experience isn't all sunshine and laughter. That's kind of the point of the show." Lorraine leaned forward, sensing tension but ignoring it. "So you're saying you didn't have a good time filming? That's quite a disappointment for fans, don't you think?" Eugene blinked, clearly irritated. "I'm not sure it's your place to decide what my fans should or shouldn't be disappointed by," he said sharply. The audience gasped softly. Lorraine froze for half a second before recovering with an uneasy laugh. "Oh, come on, Eugene, don't be so sensitive. It's just morning telly." That was the breaking point. "Sensitive," Eugene repeated, his eyebrows arching. "You invite me here to talk about a show I poured my heart into, and you call me sensitive because I don't want to turn it into a joke." Lorraine tried to calm things down. "Eugene, I didn't mean." "No, Lorraine, you did mean it," he interrupted, his voice rising slightly. "You've made a career out of making light of people's feelings, haven't you? It's all about keeping the tone chipper, even when something's serious." The audience was silent. The production crew glanced nervously at one another. Lorraine, caught off guard, tried to redirect. "I think we're just misunderstanding each other." "Maybe." Eugene leaned back and folded his arms. "No misunderstanding here," he said. "You asked a question, I gave an honest answer. You didn't like it because it wasn't funny enough for your show." Lorraine's face reddened slightly. "Eugene, that's unfair. I've interviewed people about war, loss, and grief on this sofa. Don't lecture me about what's serious." But Eugene didn't back down. "Then maybe start treating every guest like a human being instead of a headline," he said coldly. A few members of the audience clapped, nervously at first, then louder. Lorraine looked stunned. The producer's voice came through her earpiece. "Go to commercial, go to commercial." But before the break could roll, Eugene stood up. "You know what? I think we're done here," he said, removing his microphone. "I didn't come for this." Lorraine's professionalism faltered. "Eugene, please, we're live." He gave her one last glance. "Then maybe they'll see what live honesty looks like." With that, Eugene walked off the set. The audience erupted, half in shock, half in applause. Lorraine sat frozen, her trademark smile gone. Cameras captured her silent stare for a few long seconds before the show abruptly cut to a commercial. The clip went viral within hours. On Twitter, #Eugene Levy and #Lorraine Kelly were both trending. Some viewers sided with Lorraine, calling Eugene rude and dramatic. Others praised him for standing up against what they called superficial morning TV culture. By evening, both had released short statements. Lorraine wrote, "Live TV can get tense. No hard feelings toward Eugene Levy, he's a wonderful talent." Eugene's post, however, was far more pointed. "Sometimes the most uncomfortable conversations are the ones worth having. Respect should go both ways." Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to repair the fallout, but rumors swirled that Lorraine's show had been warned about pressing celebrity guests too harshly for viral moments. And Eugene, he boarded a flight the next morning, ironically, to promote his travel series in Canada. Reporters caught up with him at the airport, asking if he regretted walking off live television. He paused, adjusted his glasses, and simply said, "No. Not one bit." The next morning, every major British tabloid had Eugene Levy and Lorraine Kelly splashed across their front pages. Headlines screamed, Levy storms off Lorraine, comedy legend loses cool live on air, and Lorraine's morning meltdown, what really happened. Lorraine arrived at the ITV studios early, clutching her coffee tighter than usual. The corridors buzzed with whispers, producers, assistants, and even camera operators were speculating about whether Eugene would ever be invited back. Lorraine hated the attention, especially when she was the center of controversy. She had faced fiery interviews before, but never a guest who challenged her so publicly. She sat quietly in her dressing room as her producer, Martin, walked in holding a tablet. "You might want to see this," he said, setting it down. The screen showed a clip from Good Morning America. Eugene Levy was on air again, calm and collected, being asked about the incident. "I didn't plan to walk out," Eugene said, his tone even. "But I believe if you're asked a question, you should be allowed to answer it honestly without being mocked. Lorraine's show is wonderful, but maybe she's forgotten that interviews are supposed to be conversations, not performances." Lorraine sighed deeply. "So now I'm the villain," she muttered. Martin shrugged gently. Public opinion split. Half the internet thinks you were rude, the other half thinks he overreacted. "But, Lorraine, the network wants you to address it, live." Her heart sank. "On air. Today. Yes. The bosses think it's better if you control the story. Be gracious, calm, professional." Lorraine nodded slowly. She knew the drill, she'd been doing live television long enough to understand how fragile public trust could be. But beneath the surface, she felt something else, a sting of guilt. Maybe, just maybe, she had pushed too hard. Meanwhile, in a quiet London hotel suite, Eugene sat by the window sipping tea. His publicist, a woman named Carla, was pacing the room, phone in hand. "You've got offers coming in," she said excitedly. "Podcasts, interviews, even Graham Norton wants you to appear next week. Everyone's calling you the honest Canadian. You're trending everywhere." Eugene smiled faintly. "That's nice, but I don't want to turn this into a circus. I said what I felt. That's all." Carla frowned. "You know, Lorraine's probably going to talk about it today. Maybe even apologize." He leaned back. "If she does, that's her choice. I'm not angry anymore. I just want people to realize celebrities aren't props for talk shows." Carla nodded, impressed by his calmness. "You really mean that, don't you?" Eugene chuckled. "Of course. I've spent my whole life trying to make people laugh, but that doesn't mean I'll let someone laugh at me." At precisely 9 a.m., Lorraine's theme music played. Her expression was poised, her voice steady, but the usual sparkle in her tone was missing. "Good morning," she began. "Before we get started, I want to take a moment to address what happened on yesterday's show." The studio was silent. Even the camera crew seemed to hold their breath. "My interview with Eugene Levy became tense," she continued carefully. "I asked a few questions that clearly struck a nerve. I want to make it clear, Eugene is a brilliant actor, and I have the utmost respect for him. Live television can be unpredictable, and emotions can run high. If I came across as dismissive, I sincerely apologize." It was short, heartfelt, and perfectly worded. Within minutes, social media lit up again, this time with praise. "Lorraine handled that with class," one user posted. "Finally, a host who owns up." Later that day, Eugene saw the clip online. He smiled softly. "Good for her," he murmured. He recorded a short message on his phone and posted it to his Instagram. "Greater than, Lorraine, I appreciate your words. No hard feelings. Live TV is tough, we've all had those moments. Let's call it even." The post ended with a wink and a little thumbs up emoji. Within hours, the tension vanished. The two even exchanged light-hearted tweets later that week, with Lorraine joking, "Next time we'll stick to tea and biscuits, not drama." And Eugene replying, "Deal. But I'm bringing the biscuits." A few months later, when Eugene returned to the UK to promote a new season of his travel series, he surprised everyone by agreeing to appear on Lorraine's show again. When he walked on set, the audience cheered louder than ever. Lorraine met him with an exaggerated bow and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, he's back, and I promise not to make him run away this time." Eugene laughed heartily. "As long as you promise not to call me sensitive again." Their playful banter drew laughter and applause, and the interview became one of the most watched moments of the year. not because of conflict but because of redemption. As the show ended, Lorraine turned to Eugene with genuine warmth. "I'm glad you came back." He smiled. "Me too. Sometimes, a good clash leads to a better understanding." And with that, the audience rose for a standing ovation, proof that in show business, even a heated argument could turn into an unforgettable friendship.